Chapter 2 Father and Son. We will leave Danglars struggling with the feelings of hatred, and endeavoring to insinuate in the ear of the shipowner Morrel some evil suspicions against his comrade, and follow Dantes, who, after having traversed the Canebier, took the Rue de Noailles, and entering into a small house, situated on the left side of the Allée de Meilhan, rapidly ascended 4 stories of a dark staircase, holding the baluster in his hand, whilst with the other he repressed the beatings of his heart, and paused before a half-open door which revealed all the interior of a small compartment. This apartment was occupied by Dantes's father. The news of the arrival of the Pharaon had not yet reached the old man, who, mounted on a chair, was amusing himself with staking some nasturtiums with tremulous hand, which, mingled with clematis, formed a kind of trellis at his window. Suddenly he felt an arm thrown round his body, and a well-known voice behind him exclaimed, "Father, dear father!" The old man uttered a cry and turned round. Then, seeing his son, he fell into his arms, pale and trembling. "What ails you, my dearest father? Are you ill?" inquired the young man, much alarmed. "No, no, my dear Edmund, my boy, my son. No, but I did not expect you, and joy, the surprise of seeing you so suddenly. Ah, I really seem as if I were going to die." "Come, come, cheer up, my dear father. 'Tis I, really I. They say joy never hurts, and so I come to you without any warning. Come now, look cheerfully at me instead of gazing as you do with your eyes so wide. Here I am, back again, and we will now be happy." "Yes, yes, my boy, so we will, replied the old man. "But how shall we be happy? Will you never leave me again? Come, tell me all the good fortune that has befallen you." "God forgive me," said the young man, "for rejoicing at happiness derived from the misery of others. But heaven knows I did not seek this good fortune. It has happened, and I really cannot affect to lament it. The good Captain Leclerc is dead, father, and it is probable that with the aid of Monsieur Morrel, I shall have his place. Do you understand, father? Only imagine me, a captain at 20, with 100 louis pay and a share in the profits. Is this not more than a poor sailor like me could have hoped for?" "Yes, my dear boy," replied the old man, "and much more than you could have expected." "Well, then, with this first money I touch, I mean you to have a small house, with a garden to plant your clematis, your nasturtiums, and your honeysuckles. But what ails you, father? Are you not well?" "'Tis nothing, nothing. It will soon pass away." And as he said so, the old man's strength failed him, and he fell backwards. "Come, come," said the young man, "a glass of wine, father, will revive you. Where do you keep your wine?" "No, no, thank you." "You need not look for it. I do not want it," said the old man. "Yes, yes, father, tell me where it is," and he opened 2 or 3 cupboards. "It is no use," said the old man. "There is no wine." "What? No wine?" said Dantes, turning pale and looking alternately at the hollow cheeks of the old man in the empty cupboards. "What? No wine? Have you wanted money, father?" "I want nothing since I see you," said the old man. "Yet," stammered Dantes, wiping the perspiration from his brow, "yet I gave you 200 francs when I left 3 months ago." "Yes, yes, Edmund, that is true, but you forgot at the time a little debt to our neighbor Caderousse. He reminded me of it, telling me if I did not pay for you, he would be paid by Monsieur Morrel, and so, you see, lest he might do you an injury—" "Well?" "Why, I paid him." "But," cried Dantes, "it was 140 francs I owed Caderousse." "Yes," stammered the old man. "And you paid him out of the 200 francs I left you?" The old man made a sign in the affirmative. "So that you have lived for 3 months on 60 francs, muttered the young man. "You know how little I require," said the old man. "Heaven pardon me," cried Edmund, going on his knees before the old man. "What are you doing?" "You have wounded my very heart." "Never mind it, for I see you once more," said the old man, "and now all is forgotten, all is well again." "Yes, here I am," said the young man, with a happy prospect and a little money. "Here, father, here," he said. "Take this, take it, and send for something immediately." And he emptied his pockets on the table, whose contents consisted of a dozen pieces of gold, 5 or 6 crowns, and some smaller coin. The countenance of old Dantes brightened. "Whom does this belong to?" he inquired. "To me, to you, to us. Take it, buy some provisions, be happy, and tomorrow we shall have more." "Gently, gently," said the old man with a smile, "and by your leave I will use your purse moderately, for they would say, if they saw me buy too many things at a time, that I had been obliged to await your return in order to be able to purchase them." "Do as you please, but first of all, pray have a servant, father. I will not have you left alone so long. I have some smuggled coffee and most capital tobacco in a small chest in the hold, which you shall have tomorrow. But hush, here comes somebody. 'Tis Caderousse, who has heard of your arrival, and no doubt comes to congratulate you on your fortunate return. Ah, lips that say one thing whilst the heart thinks another, murmured Edmund. But never mind, he is a neighbour who has done us a service on a time, so he is welcome. As Edmund finished his sentence in a low voice, there appeared at the door the black and shock head of Caderousse. He was a man of 25 or 26 years of age, and held in his hand a morsel of cloth, which, in his capacity as a tailor, he was about to turn into the lining of a coat. What, is it you, Edmund, returned? Said he, with a broad Marseillais accent, and a grin that displayed his teeth as white as ivory. Yes, as you see, neighbour Caderousse, and ready to be agreeable to you in any and every way, replied Dantes, but ill concealing his feeling under this appearance of civility. Thanks, but fortunately I do not want for anything, and it chances that at times there are others who have need of me. Dantes made a gesture. I do not allude to you, my boy. No, I lent you money and you returned it. That's like good neighbours, and we are quits. We are never quits with those who oblige us, was Dantes' reply, for when we do not owe them money, we owe them gratitude. What's the use of mentioning that? What is done is done. Let us talk of your happy return, my boy. I had gone on the quay to match a piece of mulberry cloth when I met friend Danglars. What, you at Marseille? Yes, says he. I thought you were at Smyrna. I was, but am now back again. And where is the dear boy, our little Edmund? Why, with his father, no doubt, replied Danglars. And so I came, added Caderousse, as fast as I could, to have the pleasure of shaking hands with a friend. Worthy Caderousse, said the old man, he is so much attached to us. Yes, to be sure I am. I love and esteem you, because honest folks are so rare. But it seems you have come back rich, my boy, continued the tailor, looking askance at the handful of gold and silver which Dantes had thrown on the table. The young man remarked the greedy glance which shone in the dark eyes of his neighbour. Ah, he said negligently, this money is not mine. I was expressing to my father my fears that he wanted many things in my absence, and to convince me, he emptied his purse on the table. Come, father, added Dantes, put this money back in your box, unless neighbour Caderousse wants anything, and in that case it is at his service. No, my boy, no, said Caderousse, I am not in any want, thank God. The state nourishes me. Keep your money, keep it. I say one never has too much, but at the same time, my boy, I am as much obliged by your offer as if I took advantage of it. It was offered with good will, said Dantes. No doubt, my boy, no doubt. Well, you stand well with Monsieur Morel, I hear, you insinuating dog, you. Monsieur Morel has always been exceedingly kind to me, replied Dantes. Then you were wrong to refuse to dine with him. What? Did you refuse to dine with him? Said old man Dantes. And did he invite you to dine? Yes, my dear father, replied Edmund, smiling at his father's astonishment at the excessive honour paid to his son. And why did you refuse, my son? Inquired the old man. That I might the sooner see you again, my dear father, replied the young man. I was most anxious to see you. But it must have vexed Monsieur Morel, good worthy man, said Caderousse. And when you are looking forward to being captain, it was wrong to annoy the owner. But I explained to him the cause of my refusal, replied Dantes, and I hope he fully understood it. Yes, but to be captain one must give way a little to one's patrons. I hope to be captain without that, said Dantes. So much the better, so much the better. Nothing will give greater pleasure to all your old friends. And I know one down there behind the citadel of St. Nicholas who will not be sorry to hear it. Mercedes, said the old man. Yes, my dear father, and with your permission, now I have seen you, and know you are well, and have all you require, I will ask your consent to go and pay a visit to the Catalans. Go, my dear boy, said old Dantes, and heaven bless you and your wife, as it has blessed me, my son. His wife, said Caderousse. Why, how fast you go on, Father Dantes. She is not his wife yet, it appears. No, but according to all probability she soon will be, replied Edmund. Yes, said Caderousse, but you were right to return as soon as possible, my boy. And why? Because Mercedes is a very fine girl, and fine girls never lack lovers. She, particularly, has them by dozens. Really? Answered Edmund, with a smile which had in it traces of slight uneasiness. Ah, yes, continued Caderousse, and capital offers too. But you know you will be captain, and who could refuse you then? Meaning to say, replied Dantes with a smile which ill concealed his trouble, That if I were not a captain? Mm-hmm, said Caderousse, shaking his head. Come, come, said the sailor, I have a better opinion than you of women in general, and of Mercedes in particular, and I am certain that, captain or not, she will remain ever faithful to me. So much the better, said Caderousse. When one is going to be married, there is nothing like implicit confidence. But never mind that, my boy, but go and announce your arrival, and let her know all your hopes and prospects. I will go directly, was Edmund's reply, and embracing his father and saluting Caderousse, he left the apartment. Caderousse lingered for a moment, then taking leave of old Dantes, he went downstairs to rejoin Danglars, who awaited him at the corner of the Rue Senac. Well, said Danglars, did you see him? I have just left him, answered Caderousse. Did he allude to his hope of being captain? He spoke of it as a thing already decided. Patience, said Danglars, he is in too much hurry, it appears to me. Why, it seems Monsieur Morrel has promised him the thing, so that he is quite elate about it. That is to say, he is actually insolent on the matter, has already offered me his patronage, as if he were a grand personage, and preferred me alone, as though he were a banker, which you refused. Most assuredly, although I might easily have accepted, for it was I who put into his hands the first silver he ever earned. But now Monsieur Dantes has no longer any occasion for assistance. He is about to become a captain. Pooh, said Danglars, he is not one yet. Ma foi, and it will be as well he never should be, answered Caderousse, for if he should be, there will be really no speaking to him. If we choose, replied Danglars, he will remain what he is, and perhaps become even less than he is. What do you mean? Nothing. I was speaking to myself. And is he still in love with the Catalan? Over head and ears. But unless I am much mistaken, there will be a storm in that quarter. Explain yourself. Why should I? It is more important than you think, perhaps. You do not love Dantes. I never like upstarts. Then tell me all you know relative to the Catalan. I know nothing for certain, only I have seen things which induce me to believe, as I told you, that the future captain will find some annoyance in the environs of the Vieille Infirmerie. What do you know? Come, tell me. Well, every time I have seen Mercedes come into the city, she has been accompanied by a tall, strapping, black-eyed Catalan with a red complexion, brown skin, and fierce air, whom she calls cousin. Really? And do you think this cousin pays her attentions? I only suppose so. What else can a strapping chap of 21 mean with a fine wench of 17? And you say Dantes has gone down to the Catalans? He went before I came down. Let us go the same way. We will stop at Le Reserve, and we can drink a glass of La Malgou, whilst we wait for news. Come along, said Caderousse, but mind you pay the shot. Certainly, replied Danglars, and going quickly to the spot alluded to, they called for a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. Pere Pamphili had seen Dantes pass not 10 minutes before, and assured that he was at the Catalans, they sat down under the budding foliage of the planes and sycamores, in the branches of which the birds were joyously singing on a lovely day in early spring.